Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video we will show you how actually you can fetch data from the database table. So here you can see uh, in our previous video we actually create database, right? Test DB and the table student, and here you can see we have two student data. One is Yamin and another one is for the Tanvir. So now in this video we will actually fetch data from this table. So you can see I have a PHP file and PHP syntax. So here I will set some variable. So for the variable we have to use $sign and then the variable name. Let's say for the server I will say server. And then I have another variable that is for the username I will say user. For the password I will say pass. And for the DB name I will say DB name. So now actually I want to set server. So the server is localhost because we are using XAMPP, right? So by default our server is localhost. So we'll say localhost. Our user is by default root and our password is by default null. So you cannot give here a space or anything. You can change it, but by default it is null. And our DB name is the database name. So we just have to mention the database name, and that is test DB, right? Yeah, you can see test DB. So I will say test DB. And everything is done. Now we need to set the connection with the database. So for this, I will set a variable con. Any name actually you can give here. So for me, con. Then I will say new mysqli. Here I will set connection. I have to pass the parameter. So first server name. So I will say server, and second $username, and then third password, and then the last one is DB name. Everything is done. Now my connection is set. I will say if our connection is set. So I will say if connection set. So it will enter this clause, and here we will do query. So our query is SQL, let's say, and here actually I want to mention this query outside of this condition. So here I will say SQL equal to, here I will say the query. So we want to fetch the data, right? So I have to write query like this, select star everything from the table is student. So we have fetch all the information from the student table, right? Okay, now our query is also done and our connection is done. Now we have to execute the query. So to execute the query, let me just remove it. Let's say I want to set the query result in a variable that is result. So here I will say mysqli query. So this is the function actually I want to use, query. And here I have to pass two parameter. One is for the connection, that is $con, and another one is our SQL. Our query. Here you can see our connection and SQL. So we just have to pass these two parameter here. Now actually the query will be executed and the result will be saved in this result variable. Now actually I want to fetch all the data as associative array. We already mentioned earlier in our previous videos that when we actually work with database, that time actually we have to use associative array. We know that associative array actually works as column name. It will not work as index number because we want to set all the associative arrays value in a variable that is called row. Okay, because it will actually check every single row. So that's why actually I have set here variable row. You can change it any name. Okay, any name actually you can give here, 2, 3, 4, anything. Okay, just I want to actually set it row. So we will fetch the data. So we have a function and that is mysqli fetch assoc. So this is the function for the associative array. Now actually we want to pass this result here as parameter. So the result will be shown as associative array, and the result, the associative array will be stored in this variable. So now actually we want to execute the variable, right? And problem is we have let's say 100 student data. Here you can see we have more than one student data, right? So we need a loop. So while loop, and inside while loop, in the inside parenthesis, we have to pass the parameter. So our parameter would be row. So let me just cut it from here. I want to actually paste it here inside the parameter. Every single time, I mean, it will fetch a single row value and it will show in the row. And then I will actually echo the row value. Okay. I mean, if I have 3 column in a row like this, ID, name, and email, and it will show like show here. Okay. And now if I refresh, let's go back here. I will say here localhost slash test PHP, and this is the file I want to click. And here you can see ID is 1 and ID is 2. So I want to actually show all the name and everything. So I'll say here. So I'll say a name, and I want to paste data row name. Then email, I'll say dollar row email. Now let's see what happened here. If I refresh, syntax error. Okay, so what is the problem here? Expecting or line 11. This is the problem actually. We have to give a second bracket. I mean, you have to end curly braces for this starting curly braces. So everything is done now. If I refresh, now you can see ID 1 name Yamin and email is yamin@gmail.com. So actually I want to add break here. I'll set break. If I refresh, now you can see our ID is now in the second line. So here you can see we have ID, name, and email. Okay, we have ID, name, and email. Okay, so this is how actually you can fetch data from the database. So I hope you understand. So thanks for watching this video. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.